I got here without money on my pocket, without knowing one word of English, without my parents, and I was even homeless for a while.
So that was a really eye-opening step, and it was a lot of fun. I think people really awoke to the idea of taking action and believing in themselves. And then after
people always ask, how do you go from point 0 to the point we are today?
And then after, I like all the questions that he left me with, because it was something that I can ponder from my unique situation and perspective.
How many times do you think the average person tries on a goal, on a dream, before they actually quit? How many times would you say? 5 times, 10 times, 100 times?
I feel really inspired.
I mean, she tried, but did she try hard enough?
He's definitely somebody that I think is worth bringing back.
I was like, oh, this is exactly what I needed to hear. And after hearing the Cuban Guy, I'm wondering how the heck you were inside my head, because this is exactly what I needed to hear today.
He paces back and forth. He looks straight into the eyes of the ladies, the men, the elderly, the teenagers. There is silence among those 30 people. Then and only then he said, if you think that moving forward, now that the going got tough, if you think that moving forward, now that you feel intimidated, if you think that moving forward in the midst of all this is going to be painful, try turning back. We had a challenge that early morning, and the question we ask people all around the country, all around the world is, who doesn't? Just by show of hands, how many of you have made sacrifices to be where you are today at this point in your life? Show of hands and say, oh yeah. Oh yeah. How many of you have put up with a lot of people that you might not even like to be where you are today? Oh yeah. I see an extra emphasis on that one, okay? So that means if you give up, if you quit, when the going gets real tough, it means that everything you've been through up to the moment will be for what? Not only that, but for the rest of your life, you might have to live with those 2 words. The 2 words are? What if? What if?
Inspired and engaged.
Friends, if I was to summarize my story with a sentence, it would say that the pain of moving forward is temporary.
And I thought it was fabulous. I definitely will be sharing some of the messages with my students.
Everything in life is temporary.
I've been going through a lot of things lately and looking for a direction in life to improve my life and achieve success, and I began writing for the paper recently, and when came time to choose a list of stories, I saw yours on there, and I'm like, that's exactly who I need to go see, a proven success story.
There might be a time in your life when you might have to make a decision, true or false? Decision is simple. You might have to move forward with or... How many of you have already done this in your life? How many of you have moved on in life and left a lot of your friends behind? Show hands. Question, what are some of those people doing right now?
Words, and the advice has been dead on with things I've already seen, and there's been a lot of new stuff in there. And the approach is very creative, and I'm very glad I came, and I'll have nothing to say but good things.
People say, man, you don't understand. You know, I have a family member, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, or wife, somebody I deeply care about, and I just could not move forward without those people. Friends, I understand. Understand that you cannot help someone else unless you first help who?
I was really feeling it. It's a great vibe. People were really excited.
Sometimes your circumstances will test you. Life will test you. Your friends and family will test you, just to see how serious you are about success. Just to see how bad it is you want what you want. I mean, right at that moment, you move forward with or the message will be simple. You'll be sending a message back to your circumstances, back to life, back to your relatives, back to your friends, and the message is this: I'm serious about success.
Before the Cuban Guy, I thought about not even coming, but during it I felt really involved.
I was basically a little skeptical about coming. I thought this was going to be one of those speeches where you come and you just sit. But I really appreciate the fact that you were very interactive and had us move.
know that somebody right here, right now, in this audience, is probably have a family member, boyfriend, girlfriend, somebody you deeply care about, and you're really trying to help that person. If you really want to help somebody right next to you, my advice to you is stop. Stop telling and start what? Doing. Start doing. Start doing, but you moving forward with or without. What are some of the lies that you have been told about yourself that you have believed?
You're weird.
That might be true for you, sir.
I feel empowered and ready to take on the world.
Now, positive self-talk is what? Sir, give me an example of positive self-talk. Go ahead. I'm sexy. I don't know about that one. All right. That's what happened, okay? When you say positive things to other people, guess what's happening? Not only are you affirming the other person, but you're also affirming who? Everybody point to somebody right next to you and say, you're wonderful. You're a good-looking person. You're beautiful. Now give me your wallet.
It was great. It was awesome. Educational.
Think about this. You communicate your dreams, goals, and aspirations to a family member, to a friend, to somebody you trust and care about, and somehow that person doesn't buy into your dreams. You guys know what I'm talking about? Say, oh yeah. See, it took me a long time to realize this. See, I used to communicate my dreams, goals, and aspirations to my family, to my friends, to the people around me, and they were just not buying into this. As a matter of fact, I remember one time, they're like, look, I don't mean to be discouraging, but. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Yes. If somebody tells you but, you know they're about to be what? Really discouraging, okay? And you see, what I realized after a while was that the reason why they did not believe in my dreams, goals, and aspiration, it had nothing to do with them, but had a lot to do with me. See, I was communicating my dreams, goals, and aspiration to them with disbelief, with doubt, with skepticism. First, when you communicate your dreams, goals, and aspiration to a family member, to somebody right next to you, do you communicate your dreams and goals with disbelief, with skepticism, with doubt? Or do you communicate your dreams with passion, conviction, as though you know deep within you that your dreams will come true? See, when Muhammad Ali used to say, I'm the greatest, not only did he used to build himself up, but what did he used to do to his opponent's confidence? He used to destroy it. My question to you is this. How would it look like for you if you build your confidence so high about your dreams, about your goals, about your aspirations, that those who normally put you down, that those who normally try to hold you back, begin to become reluctant, almost afraid of saying whatever negative stuff they have been saying up to now? What would that look like for you?
During the Cuban Guy, I was very excited and engaged with what he had to say. You know, just lots of things that speak to pretty much everybody that's in the group.
Do you guys know that every 60 seconds in America today, someone becomes wealthy? You guys know that, yes or no?
Now I do.
Now you do. Very good. Regardless of what the media is saying, regardless of how the economy is doing, regardless of what anybody is saying, somebody in this country right now is making lots and lots of money. True or false? True. My question to you is this. Why can't that person be you?
You look at the small things and you don't really look at your picture. I thought that was really profound in my life. So I'm glad that I came to the Cuban Guy.
You see, friends, you could want all you want. You could want more money. You could want more success. You could want a better life for you and your family. You could want the finest things in life. But unless you get off your ante, nothing's really going to happen. True or false?
Before the Cuban Guy, I didn't know what to expect. I knew it was going to be motivational speaking, but I didn't know how awesome it would be.
Because you live in an impermanent world. Nothing could be permanent. If you're not permanent, how could your problems be permanent?
And during the Cuban Guy, it was so engaging, all of the different things that the Cuban Guy did to help us learn some really important life goals was fantastic. So now I feel more confident about what I might want to do with my life and some of my dreams and goals.
He had become partners in this company, like part owner. So I was like, man, this is big. When did it happen? He said it happened about 15 years ago. I was like, what are you talking about? 15 years ago. Last time I saw you was 5 years ago, and you did not own that company. He said, you don't understand. He said, about 15 years ago when I started working for this company, he said, I was working at the lowest level possible. But he said, 15 years ago, I was working on the lowest level possible, as though I own the company. He said 15 years ago I was cleaning toilets, I was cleaning floors, but he said 15 years ago I was cleaning floors and toilets as though I own the company. He said 15 years ago I was interacting at the lowest level with the lowest level clerks at that company. But he said 15 years ago I was interacting at the lowest level with the lowest level clerks as though I own the company. My question to you today is this. When do you think that guy became the owner? Was it 5 years ago when he got the title? Or was it 15 years ago when he made up his mind that he was going to own that company? When? Is that right? Friends, think in simple common terms right here. When does a boxer win a fight? Does that person win a fight when he or she knocks the other person down? That person wins the fight the night before when he or she makes up their mind that they're either going to win or lose the fight. When do you think you start making millions of dollars? Friends, by the way, is it possible for you to make millions of dollars?
Yes. Oh,
it's very possible. What is the only thing stopping you from making millions of dollars?
The right wing.
What was that?
The right wing.
The right wing, okay. Okay, the right wing, the left wing. We could come up with many reasons. But friends, the bottom line is this. The only thing stopping you from being the person that you were born to be is you. There's nothing else out there that could ever stand between you and your dream if you really desire the dream bad enough.
And true, so Cuban Guy is #1.
Life will not get easier if you're not getting smarter.
Very interactive and had us moving around and, just getting involved. Afterwards, I was pretty motivated.
I want to be a speaker, man. I went to that, man. I want to be a speaker. The guy looked at me and said, sir, if you want to be a speaker so bad, all you got to do is speak. I was like, that's it. He's like, that's it. I was like, whoa, I'm going to be a speaker. Woo! There was only one challenge. I couldn't speak English. And that was not a small little challenge. I want you to imagine you want to be the next Michael Jordan, but you got no arms. Or you want to be an Olympic runner, but you got no legs. I wanted to be a world-class speaker, and I couldn't what? So I remember turning to this guy in my own sign language back then. I was like, sir, you don't understand, I can't speak English. The guy doesn't even blink. He takes a book from the table. He puts it inside his suitcase. He looks straight into my eyes, and he said, where there is a will, there is a way. And I looked at him one more time. I was like, sir, you don't understand. When I speak, people laugh on my face, you know? He takes another book. He puts it inside his suitcase. Looks straight into my eyes. And he says, where there is a will, there is a way. And I'm thinking, I heard this before. Maybe it's one of those things that you guys are supposed to read between the lines because I'm not getting what he's getting at, you know? Now he grabs his suitcase and he begins to walk towards the door as though he's leaving the building. And I'm just standing there, and to tell you the truth, this is what it felt like. It felt like one of those once-in-a-lifetime opportunities that knocks on your door how many times?
1.
Friends, and I was just not about to let that guy walk out of that building without getting some answers. So I started saying a whole bunch of stuff to the guy. Now, between you and I don't think he could understand me because back then I couldn't understand myself, okay? But anyway, he kept on walking and walking and walking, and all of a sudden he stops. He put a suitcase on the table and makes a 180-degree turn, and now he begins to walk towards me. Now, something you got to understand about this guy is about the size of Shaquille O'Neal. Scary kind of looking guy, the kind of guy you see in a dark alley. Forget about dark alley. Daylight, you cross the street, okay? So he's walking towards me, and he's walking towards me, he's walking towards me. Guess what I'm doing? I'm walking back, okay? So I'm walking back, he's walking towards me, I'm walking back, he's walking towards me. I'm kind of between the wall and the guy, so I'm kind of looking up at him, he's kind of looking down at me. And right at that moment, I felt like this wet, warm feeling running through my leg. Got so scared, okay? Anyway, I'm looking up at him, he's looking down at me, and he looked at me one last time. And I will never forget what he said at that point. As he looks down to straight into my eyes, and I look back and straight into his, he said, "Where there is a will, there is a way." Then he went on to say, he said, "The minute you desire your dreams, as bad as a homeless person desires shelter." He said, "The minute you desire your dreams, as bad as a starving person desires food." He said, "The minute you desire your dreams, as bad as a drowning person desires air." He said, "At that moment, you make your dreams into reality. At that moment, you will find a way." I looked at him, he looked at me, he walked away. I never saw him again in my life. I didn't quite understand what he meant, but something happened that night. As I left that building, as I went back to my dorm, as I laid my head on the pillow, the last thought that came to my head that night was, I'm going to be a speaker. Friends, as I woke up the next morning, I was sitting on the ledge of my bed. The first thought that came to my head that morning was, I'm going to be a speaker. As I walked through campus the entire week, month, and year, the thought that kept coming back again and again was, I'm going to be a speaker. See, it's been a few years later, and today, as I go all across country, as I reach people from all around the world, as I step on stages in front of thousands of people, excited, waiting to hear the first word that's going to come out of my mouth. Before I say one word, I look at the audience. The audience looks back. And right at that point, the first thing that comes to my head is, I am a speaker. Why am I sharing this with you? See, you might not want to be a speaker. That was my dream. I understand that. You might not have the same obstacles and challenges like I did, like being on the street or begging for food or being constantly laughing in your face. Friends, those are my obstacles and challenges. I understand that too. The reason why I share this with you is because I know by fact that you do have a dream. True or false? True. And I also know that you do have some obstacles to overcome to get to that dream. True or false? True. Friends, the minute you develop that intense desire for what you want, there's really no obstacle you cannot overcome. There is no challenge you cannot surpass. There is no distance you cannot endure. There is no mountain you cannot climb. See, a friend of mine asked me, how do I know that my thinking is on the right path towards success? I said to him, your thinking is on the right path towards success when it rains and you don't think about getting wet. When it hurts and you don't think about the pain. When you're tired and you don't think about sleeping. When you're heartbroken and you don't think about McDonald's, this guy must be hungry. Hang in there, so we're almost done, okay? When you're frustrated and you don't think about your frustration, when you yelled at, cursed at, discriminated against, or even put down, and you don't think about how to get even. When you get knocked down, when your whole world begins to collapse on your shoulders and you don't think about why life is unfair. When you're bearing debts, when you have absolutely no money, and you don't think about the scarcity of funds. When your car breaks down, when you break down, when everything you have begins to fall apart, and you don't think about fixing. When there is death or destruction, and you don't dwell on what's missing, or destroyed. When you're sad, depressed, intimidated, scared, or hopeless, and you don't think about being sad, depressed, intimidated, scared, or hopeless, because all you think about is what? Making your dreams become a reality. So people say, man, that's kind of a little drastic. Why would I think about making my dreams become a reality when I'm feeling hopeless? When everything that I try has not worked? When I can't even get off bed in the morning? Friends, because a dream gives you what? It gives you hope. It gives you something to fight for. It gives you something to wake up for. It gives you that sense of excitement. I had this guy the other day and came to me and said, man, I have a dream. I'm not that excited. I said, look, if you have a dream and you're not that excited, maybe.
It's not your dream.
Yeah, it's not your dream. Maybe it's your mom's dream, it's your uncle's dream, it's your cousin's dream, it's your next door's neighbor's dog's dream, but it's surely not your dream. If you have a dream and you're not that excited, maybe it's time to get a new dream. See, not long ago, I went on a family reunion. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Yes? And a lot of my family lives in Miami, so I flew down there. I got together one night, and then we went on a 7-night cruise. My question to you is this. When do you think we had the best night? Was it the last night of the cruise, the first night of the cruise, or the night before the cruise? The night before. I mean, we had fun all the nights, but the night before was special. Why? Anticipation, the level of excitement. Friends, you could come to one of my relatives the night before, you could punch one of them in the face. They would think for a second, and they would say something like, don't worry, tomorrow we're going on a cruise. Yeah. They were so excited that nothing could throw them off. They were so excited that nothing, absolutely nothing, could get them upset. They were so excited that nothing, absolutely nothing, could alter their state of mind. My last question to you is this. How would your life be like if you were so excitedly looking towards your dreams that nothing, absolutely nothing, could get you upset? How would your life be like if you were so excitedly looking towards your dreams that nothing, absolutely nothing, could throw you off? How would your life be like if nothing, absolutely nothing, could hold you back? That even though you get knocked down 1,000,000 times, that nothing could keep you down. Where would you be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years from today? You held on to that sense of excitement towards your dreams. Where would you be? Living your dreams.